let's talk about being selective right now. What are you and your team telling people to buy right now?
So there's, Brian, there's one coin out there that we are telling folks to buy right this moment. And it may be one of the most exciting cryptos that I've ever seen, ever, honestly. Because what you have with this crypto is something that is disintermediating an industry that needs to be disintermediated. And that's the telecom industry. So I'll cut to the chase. The name of the token is Helium. And Helium is basically creating a system of shared Wi-Fi networks that will antiquate cellular networks as we know them. And it sounds pretty cool because what this means is there could be a future where you're not paying Verizon and T-Mobile or AT&T $70, $100 a month for your cell phone to work. Okay, so here's how Helium does its thing. Helium has these little things they call hamburgers. That's the slang term for them. What they are actual, hotspot generators. And they sell these hotspot generators to folks like you or me. We go online, we buy these hotspot generators for $100, $200, $300, different capacities for different prices. Comes to our house, we install it, we plug it in, very easy process. And what that thing does is it then connects to your local Wi-Fi. And it'll beam that Wi-Fi out into the world, several hundred meters around in a radius. And then passerbys on the street or the local park or wherever can now hop on your Wi-Fi and use it as free internet coverage. Now, why would you do this, right? It feels kind of intrusive to share your own Wi-Fi. But Helium's created a network, this is where the blockchain comes in, that financially incentivizes you to do this very thing. Because not only is this hotspot generator broadcasting the Wi-Fi, but simultaneously it's mining Helium coins. So the more people that use your network, that are on your shared Wi-Fi network, the more coins this burger mines and the more money you get to take home as your reward for sharing your Wi-Fi. So it's pretty cool, right? What you're basically doing is physically taking the money that Verizon, the central arbiter, is making, breaking that up, and now giving it to the people for sharing their own Wi-Fi. It's such a genius concept. And the cool thing about this is that it's not just a concept, it's actually happening right now. There are almost 100,000 of these hotspots that are actively generating Wi-Fi in the world today. And the folks that are doing it are making lots of money, Brian. It's really insane. I'm from San Diego, and San Diego is actually one of the largest places for Helium hotspot generators. And there's a neighborhood in San Diego called Pacific Beach. And there are some folks in Pacific Beach that are raking in hundreds of dollars a day doing this stuff. In fact, the highest earner in San Diego, annualized, made over $200,000 last month. So this is not a small business, and that's just from sharing your own Wi-Fi. So that's another cool thing about this, is that not only can you invest in Helium, because it's going to disrupt Verizon, and it's going to create a world where you have free cell coverage, free internet coverage everywhere. Awesome. But you can also go out and buy yourself a Helium hamburger, start mining some Helium, sharing your Wi-Fi, and make a couple $100 a day. So you get your income here, and you get your explosive gains from the coin, and boom, you got a double whammy. That's just, how could you not get super excited about this? My team and I have dug, read all the white papers on it. We have had conversations with people that are doing the mining. Everything checks out. This is a legit disruptive technology that's going to change the world.
And people can invest in this opportunity right now.
Right now. Like I said, you can buy the Helium coin and you can mine Helium coin with your little hotspot generator.
Just tuning in, you might not hold HNT, but I want to share some things with you because, as you guys know, on Saturdays, we give you the fresh investor place coverage, talking about are things looking bullish, what's going on in the jobs market, all this stuff. HNT, Helium, was one that investor places always felt very strongly about in their portfolio. Let's jump into some recent developments of why HNT is just really doing well, right? All right, so on the top 100, take a look at this for a second. Here is HNT, and no, I don't have a custom avatar for it, so, but look at this for a second. you do see here that on the 1 hour chart, it's doing the best. 24-hour chart, it is basically, up 80%. And my God, I mean, remember I was talking to some of you guys about this? I said, man, I think it was like $1.17. I said, I think this is bottom. Some people point out, not a lot's been happening with HNT and it's on Salana. Why would they pick Salana? Kind of getting all trying to create some FUD and so on. But say what you want. 24-hour chart up 80%, 95% 7-day chart. I'm back into the profits on my HNT, right? And I've personally seen it go over to $50. I remember originally, even we talk about the market phase, you still make money. So when I first got in HNT, I just bought like a handful of them. I think about 5, right? And basically, I saw it go from like $20 I paid for each one, to 50. And I was like, I made a little profit on and so on. And then, decided to get into it again. But I honestly think it's going to supersede previous all-time highs. This is not going to be one that's going to make me, filthy rich or anything like that. But it'll be a nice little profit, or as Boomer F and Sooner would say, kind of like your F around money, he calls it, right? So HNT, what the heck is going on? Why is it standing out? And why point out to you? Right, that's the bottom line. I mean, look at this. Luna Classic, Helium, BTT, Ordinals, right? Ordi, Celestia. Yeah, shout out to Jay Muskis. He's telling me all the time, you cover quant, but you won't cover Celestia. Hey, I get it. There's a lot of things that people want me to cover, but I'm going to jump over to a little bit about this whole, I don't know, this news piece, I guess you could say, in regards to Helium. HNT. So this made mainstream news. I'm going to share it with you just for a brief bit. Okay, so this is straight from USA Today. Of course, we know that this jumped not just 50%, but higher than that. But the point is, it went 50% instantly. What does USA Today have for us? Well, they have a lot. I'm not going to get into every single thing, but we do know HNT, based on Solana, had that stunning increase. And they went with Salana, I think, a few months ago this year. But the price began, actually, technically speaking, on Tuesday. I did see a little bit about that. I was mentioning it to Mike Cornwell. I think I, shot him some DMs saying, hey, man, text message, bro, look at this. But shortly after Tuesday, the Helium Network announced that users throughout the United States can now access unlimited data, voice, and text for $20 per month via a newly launched mobile service. Now, Luke Lango, all right, did an interview, video interview, and yeah, unfortunately it's on the old channel, but I did include this. I actually think I have one here on this channel too, and it talks. Yeah, I do, and it, excuse me. Hold on a second. It talks about, from Luke Lango, all the key things about HNT. And, one of the nice things is, if you're not aware about it and so on, like there's so many HNT mobile hotspots all over the place. In fact, I'll try to pull up some just to kind of give you an idea. I want to show it to you guys because, I don't know. Sometimes you just need a visual, but basically they have this network that's literally like all over the place. And I'm going to pull up the Explorer. I want to show you this for a second. This is just unbelievable if you've never seen this. Here is that, we talk about the network and so on, and it's still loading up. All right. So basically speaking, it's just like, from what I gathered a long time ago, is like, if you're mining Helium, you're going to do better if people are scraping the data, for instance, like on a trail path, or you're like Mike Cornwell, you're driving through the middle of nowhere and you're talking to old Max on the phone and you lose connection. What if somebody had a Helium hotspot and instead of losing your connection, you scrape from that? Well, those people, miners, or what you want to call it, they earn rewards from that, right? But just to give you an idea about, these hotspots, right? So for instance, you guys know I'm like in Phoenix. I'm not going to give you my exact spot, but look at this. You want to talk about a network. These things are all over the place. And, for instance, Like, I'll click on this. It even gives an idea. Big concrete aardvark. What a name. Let me see here. Let's do this one. View hotspot. And basically speaking, you can check out like the rewards that people get, right? So I think this guy, okay, you might have had it off. Average past week. Let's see here, lifetime. But it's kind of crazy. It tells like how much tokens he earned, right? So, some people, excuse me, not him specifically, maybe there's this area, but the point is somebody, whether it's a group, person, whoever, earned 2,124 HNT tokens. Well, multiply that times, like what you see right here, $5.68. That's not too bad. That's actually pretty darn nice, But anyway, getting back into this, I want to share this with you. It talks about, yeah, how people can now access unlimited data, voice and text for $20 a month. I use, Metro by T-Mobile, formerly known as Metro PCS. Some of you guys use other services and so on. Even that particular service cost me, $35 a month. I used to pay, a higher package, but I was like, I don't really text a lot, and it's good for me. But when you see stuff like this is back to the whole thing what Luke Lango was talking about from Investor Place. Excuse me. And that is, watch out for these companies with technology that are like industry disruptors. Say what you want, the Verizons of the world and so on. Those are industries that really, let's face it, they need to be disrupted. What a more beautiful way to get disrupted with something like Helium. $20 a month, unlimited data, voice. Word gets around. Price does sell, as we know, So they have this advertisement, plain as day, straight from their ex, leveraging the Helium Network, launches a nationwide phone plan, like we mentioned. Average American spends $157 on their phone plan, but starting today, I guess obviously probably yesterday, Tuesday, anyone in the United States can join Helium Mobile and say goodbye to overpriced bills. This is another example of utility in motion, and what more of a popular example of utility in motion, because you already have most of the world, or even the United States, most people use cell phones. I mean, I don't know hardly anybody other than, no offense to our beloved old folks, right? But for the most part, even some of those guys, right, are not on home phones anymore. Mass adoption. How do you get there? You get on certain networks. Now, some people have asked me, they said, why Salana? And we'll get into that. But look at that. Average American spends $157 a month on their phone plan. But starting today, anyone in the U.S. can join Helium Mobile and say goodbye to overpriced bills. We give credit where credit's due. Tim Shea has shared Flux. I think Flux is another great example of, you compare it to like Google Cloud Services and the other one that was listed. Overpriced cloud services, but Flux is like 90% off compared to those ones. Another industry disruptor, Helium. So it's big. I'm not going to play this video because it's not that important of a video, but you got to keep in mind. I mean, what causes, in my opinion, massive pumps that we see in the market, not just because it's the start of the bull run, but it's the timing. And you also got to keep in mind, if you create a reality for people, hence Helium, to have like a nationwide phone plan leveraging the actual Helium network, and it's backed by not just these hotspots, but 5G network hotspots. It's game changer, absolute game changer. So I want to state this. I understand that people don't get the whole thing of Helium going with Salana. So people are like, why Salana? The network goes down. This is great for people that want to, save money, but I'm not going to jump with I'm not going to jump to Helium with my phone plan because I don't want to. I heard it's tied to Salana. Salana goes down. Well, you got to keep in mind there is some good reasons that HNT Helium went with Salana, and you got to keep in mind, it was crucial for Salana to support what they look at as being like a network, or IoT network, Internet of Things network. Their devices, which are Internet of Things, right? These little hotspot, Luke Lango calls them hamburgers. I don't know why he calls them that, but I guess they kind of look like a hamburger. They kind of look like a little router, right? That's considered Internet of Things. Well, Solana offers significantly faster transaction confirmations and the ability to handle thousands of transactions per second. What is it, guys? Like 28,000 TPS. We understand BSV and all that's a lot more, but this is who they went with. This is essential for network operation, of course, future growth. They felt as though there was a lot of cost efficiency with this. Listen to this for a second. Transaction fees on the Solana network for especially Helium significantly lower than other popular blockchains, obviously like Ethereum. Can you imagine if they went with the Ethereum? They're not. It's important for Helium because miners earn rewards in HNT for providing, like we said, coverage and validating data, especially when it comes to scraping that data. There's lower fees, basically means that miners can keep a greater share, of course, of the rewards. This is all, of course, incentivizing miners. This is good things, right? Especially from a miner perspective. Now, of course, Solana, does have a proven track record, even though their network has gone down and so on, but it hasn't gone down as much compared to some of that FUD. But they do have developmental support, and this is great for Helium, right? If you're going to expand your network and so on, you got to have resources. So by Helium teaming up with, for instance, Solana, their resources are easily to access because it's going to help, for instance, Helium to accelerate the development of network applications. I always mention interoperability. I won't get into that, but they do have a lot of interoperability for DeFi and Web3 projects. And then the other thing I was going to mention is, how in the world could HNT pick Solana? Back to the whole thing, if the network is going to continue to go down. And now it hasn't really gone down much, right? Especially recently. But that's a great, a point to make. But here's the thing I want to share with you. Whether HNT can thrive on Solana's network despite its outages depends, of course, on a few key factors. I'm just going to give you a brief breakdown. So I got some allergy problems today, a little bit of asthma, but basically it's like the challenges are like network instability, right? If you have a network going down, and especially on a phone network, why even go with it? Well, you got to keep in mind, Solana does have a history of network outages, and of course raises some concerns about Helium's reliability. But you got to keep in mind, these outages could disrupt Helium's operations. That, of course, can lead to loss of rewards, especially for miners and so on. And that creates, of course, frustration. Some people are pointing out that, there's limited scalability. Solana's network was, faced with numerous challenges in the past when it comes to scalability, with transactions slowing down significantly during periods of high activity. What happens when we get all these people jumping from their old phone plan to the new phone plan? Are they going to get the same user experience as the next guy, right? And especially at peak hours, right? People, let's face it, we've seen it ourselves. They say to themselves, hey, I don't care that this is $20. I'll go with a little bit more expensive plan to have more reliability. That's a factor. There's centralization concerns. Solana claims to be a decentralized network, as we know, but some critics argue that it still contains elements, of course, of centralization. That's true. And you also got to keep in mind this will potentially undermine the trust and transparency that are essential, of course, for the Helium network. Now, in closing, another thing I want to point out. At the end of the day, for us, retail holders and so on, and even for people that are just, part of the Helium network, whether it's miners, you name it, there is opportunities. And there's three key ones I want to talk about before we jump into the next topic. So for one, there is improved performance. And that sounds crazy when it comes to Solana, but you have to keep in mind, Solana does boast faster transaction speeds than most and lower fees compared to other, blockchains and DLTs. This could, of course, benefit the Helium network, and it's going to make it more efficient and more affordable to use. At the end of the day, if we're going to keep these low costs, we got to also have something that's going to back that up. Solana does have a growing ecosystem, whether you're a fan of it or not. And basically, they are continuing to grow applications, dApps, and so on the Salana network. Also, please keep in mind that this is going to provide HNT with increased exposure and, of course, potential use cases with the broader blockchain ecosystem. So both Salana will thrive and also HNT should thrive. And we've seen that, especially here recently. All right. I want you guys to also have a few key things to consider in that regards. HNT does have the option to migrate, of course, to another blockchain in the future. It's not Solana or bust. I don't know if people understand that. The Helium team has stated numerous times that they are open to migrating to a different blockchain if Solana does not meet their needs. And that's good. At the end of the day, you don't want to sign a contract being stuck in the mud and have to commit to multiple years of being under the thumb of a failed network, right? Who wants that? The Helium community is relatively small and tight-knit. They are, but they're very, very passionate about it. When you hear stories of other YouTubers, doing a video right out of their garage, for crying out loud, stating, hey, you know what? I used to have my HNT miner in a heavy traffic area of a coffee shop. And then my mining rewards, went from a lot to not much, but here's what I'm doing now. And it's working, right? Because, they changed their payout plan, if you will. It's cool to see things like that. People sharing success stories of the best way to mine. Well, yes, tight-knit community. But you're going to see more and more people talk more about this. And of course, that's more mass adoption. The third thing I want to talk about is the success of the HNT in itself, as in the coin, right? Because, let's face it, originally I think they were on their own blockchain. Of course, they went to Solana. But the point is, the success of HNT ultimately depends on the value proposition, of course, of the actual Helium network. No kidding. If Helium's network itself continues to provide a more valuable service to its users, HNT will likely succeed regardless of the underlying blockchain tech. At the end of the day, price does sell, and yeah, we don't want to see them go with some garbage like Ethereum, but still, at the end of the day, price will sell. How do they meet that balance of quality over quantity? Of course, it's still early to state and speculate all these things, but say what you want. We've been covering HNT since it hit bottom. $1.17, look what it's doing now, and just give you an idea back to what we have before we close it out. And it's this right here. Yeah, $5.81 now. And at the height of the last bull market, I did see it around roughly $50. So not too shabby. Even on the 1 hour chart, 10.24%, 24-hour chart, 83%, and 101% on the week. I'm way into the profits on Helium. And then you know what? It gets the honorable mention tonight. Some of you guys are into it, some of you are not. We'll always point out some things, and we're going to do this from time to time. It's not going to be just covering the same thing all the time. We'll always cover those, but you know what? Give credit where credit's due.